everyone, so today we're going to be looking at thematic analysis. So what you want to know is, what is a thematic analysis? So you need to know that this is looking for themes within data and coding them and interpreting their meaning. So we often look for this when we are doing interviews and we have a transcript from an interview, or maybe a diary entry and we want to analyse the data, but we want to keep the data as qualitative data. We don't want to change it into quantitative like we would with a content analysis. We want to keep some essence of the data. So we might read through several reports on this, so several transcripts or several diary entries, and identify particular themes within this, so things that come up all the time. And we do this because we want to summarise the findings from this data and kind of quantify them, in a qualitative way, identify the themes that come up, but we don't want to change them into quantitative data. So there are several steps to this, and I'm going to go through each one. The first one is you need to familiarise yourself with the data. So what you would do is you get your diary entry or your interview transcript, and you just read through it several times until you're really confident and comfortable with it, and you know where everything is. You need to make sure you know it really well so you can find these themes quickly. And you might note down any initial observations that come up. The second step is that you're going to create some initial code. So the first few things that come into your mind, you might identify some particularly generic themes that come up all the time. So if you're analysing someone's diary entries about their relationship, you might identify themes of being loved, or themes about, the washing up and how much of it they do, or the cleaning, how much they do. And you would highlight these and identify all the themes that come up and write down any initial codes. You need to do this systematically, so you'd read through each transcript or each diary entry at a time. So you'd take it in chronological order, you're not taking it out of context. Then from here you'd search through this and identify some main themes and some sub-themes. So we might have a main theme of like housework and the distribution of housework, and then within that we might have sub-themes of people saying that they feel like this is well distributed or not, and not happy with it, or the types of things that people do within the housework, like how is it distributed. So we identify some bigger themes and maybe some sub-themes as well. You might here find extra things that you want to include, so extra themes, or you might discard some of the themes if you realise that it's only been mentioned very briefly, maybe in one person's diary entry. And then you're going to review your themes. You want to ensure that these themes are really well refined, that you have a really good idea of what you mean by these themes, and you might reread the data extract to make sure that you've really understood exactly what the person's trying to say and that you haven't taken anything out of context. You might also want to see if you're look at each theme in relation to your data and see if there are any relationships between the themes. So do any of these connect, like at the top picture here where you can see that they all connect to each other. Then you're going to define and name the themes. So this is kind of solidifying the themes. We now understand what they are, and we want to be able to build a bigger picture for other people so that they can understand what we mean by this theme. So you're going to give the title of the theme, such as like housework, and then you might explain that what does housework mean and what are we talking about within housework. So are we talking about how happy people are about the distribution of housework? Are we talking about what types of household chores people do? And you would define each of those things, so what you mean by this, to kind of create an overall narrative from your data. So like, these are the connections. Then you're going to produce your report on this. You're going to write up a report just like you would with quantitative data about what you have found out, and you need to think here about sharing those themes really clearly and the definition of those themes, as well as providing evidence for each of the themes, so quotes from different people and what they've said, to show them that you understand what each theme is and that there is evidence to support your claims of this theme being an important thing, say within relationships. Your report should be concise, clear and logical and non-repetitive, but you might want to make real connections between the themes. So you might need to think about how you would write the themes out and what order you're going to write them in, so you can make a logical connection between the themes. So those are the 6 stages of a thematic analysis. One problem with the thematic analysis is that it's very subjective. If I read through the people's diary entries on relationships and somebody else read through the same diary entries, we're likely to pick out different themes and different impacts. Basically, what we're going to find in there will be different, and I might interpret what people are saying as a negative thing, and someone else might interpret it as a positive thing, or we might just misinterpret the data completely, and that makes it hard to repeat the study. But a strength of it is that it keeps the data as qualitative data. And this is really important because we want to be sure that people have a true understanding of what we are trying to say. And it's a good way and a systematic way of analysing data in a qualitative format. Hope this is helpful.